So here's the thing about Norsca. I think they're gonna be good. I think they're gonna raise a lot in tier lists from this DLC. I also am the least excited for them. It's weird. It's weird. Don't get me wrong. Everything I get is great. Well, yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Everything I get's like pretty good. Whereas the High Elf video and the Slanesh videos, I have more mixed opinions on some of their units. I'm like, oh, these units are going to be bad. Oh, these units are going to be good and stuff. There's also the least here for me to really get hyped about. So it's weird. It's an incredibly healthy DLC for these guys. It is the Caesar salad of DLCs. It's healthy. It's great. It's good. It's not sexy. And by that, I look here. Some of their new units, we have the Marauder Bearmen. If you compare them to a basic Marauder, it's like an Ungor to a Gore. It's more HP, more stats in some areas, a little less in others, more expensive, but it's just another Marauder unit. Then you'll go with the Marauders with great weapons, Marauder Bearmen with great weapons. Kind of similar, so you're getting a mid-tier thing, but it's still just a Marauder, which... to be fair, what'd you expect from Norsca, right? You're going to get Marauders. It's not like you go to Norsca and you expect to see, like, flighty little elves with dual daggers. You get Marauders. But it does just feel like more Marauders. Then there's the ROR, Marauders with great weapons, but they're Nurgle, so they get extra melee defense and poison. They're pretty good. They're pretty fine. Then we get Kurgan Horsemen, which are great. They're fantastic units. They're pretty much just Centaurs, in a way where if they get the charge, it'll absolutely mess a fool up, and if they don't get the charge, they're gonna die. But they're just melee Marauder Horsemen. One has armor piercing, one doesn't. They both have frenzy, so as long as they're winning and getting the charge and all that jazz, they'll get a ton of damage. If they don't, they'll have a bad time. They even get devastating flanker, which is pretty huge. So you have to get good charges with them, but they'll do a ton of damage very quickly, or they'll die very quickly. 5,000 HP, 15 armor, 20 melee defense. They're not going to be that tanky. You get a new ROR Marauder Chariot. It just applies burning debuffs like a lot of Tzeentch units does, so that's fine. But like everything I just listed is kind of a reskin of units that already exist. Oh, and there's an ROR Marauder Horseman, but they just get slightly better melee stats, and then Battle Songs, which gives leadership to nearby units when they're in melee. But like, that was a lot of reskins. That's kind of what I mean about like the Caesar salad thing is just... I mean, we get more Marauders, we get more Marauder variants, we get more Chariots, we get more Marauder Cavalry. That's all good. Those are things Norsca can use, but I'm not, like, losing my mind over it. This stuff's pretty cool. Their lords and their new monsters. We'll have a replay about the Dreadmaw, but the Dreadmaw is just a sandworm, but mini. And it goes under the map, you can't target it, you can't shoot at it, and then it pops up in the middle of your roster and does a bunch of damage. And if it wants to, it can back off and just kind of kite you like a skull cannon. So this thing could have some problems in multiplayer to be a little toxic, but as far as cool-wise goes, it's very cool. It's a very cool monster. It'll be fun in campaign. Hopefully it'll be fun in multiplayer. Right now it has an insanely low price point of only 1,000 gold, but we'll see if they either bump that up or if they nerf this thing. Because it's one or the other. From my tests with it and whatnot, it's definitely way too good for 1,000 gold. I don't know if it's way too good to be in the game. You know what I mean? Where it's like, if it was 1,400 gold, it'd probably be like fine. It does have some problematic stuff, but we'll go into that more in depth when I show you the replay of it in action. We'll talk about those things. But as a unit, it does take a lot of damage when it surfaces in infantry or cavalry, so it needs to watch out for that. And 80 armor doesn't really keep it that safe. I've noticed that spears still do a lot of damage to it. So the Dreadmaw is a really good disruption piece, much better than a Manticore because it can't rampage and it can't be targeted on the way in. Then you have Chimeras. Chimeras are multi-headed flying Manticores. They're just Manticores upgraded. They have breath attacks. They have higher stats, they have magic damage, fire damage, all stuff Manticores don't have, and they don't rampage. The ROR, for 400 extra gold, has higher stats, but it also has the ability to back off and just heal. It can land, stalk itself, and heal whenever it's just out of combat. It does have a cooldown on it. Does have a duration, but it is a pretty good sized heal. So you can do a little bit of hit and run with this guy and save him up for the late game. And then the last guys, the Kurstettens. They're interesting. I actually have no idea how they're going to perform in multiplayer overall. Unit tests don't do them service. So they're both incredibly tanky. They're essentially giants, pretty much. Pretty much just giants reborn. A little more HP than a giant. Less armor than a giant. A little less weapon strength, but they perform largely like giants. Now, they have two personalities where it's like when they're higher than 50% HP, the base one gets speed, glorious charge, and unyielding assault. But when it gets below half HP, it starts regenerating and getting more damage but loses melee defense. Other than that, it causes terror, vanguard deployment, spell resistance, yada yada. The ROR is only 100 gold more for increased stats. No, he has decreased stats. Interesting. And non-armor piercing melee attacks. Ooh, that's a little wild. Okay, so the ROR has less stats. It's a rune caller. But you do get 2 bound Flock of Dooms, 2 bound Doom and Darkness, 1 bound Enfeebling Foe. And then when you're less than 50% HP with him, you get healing, but you get power recharge and power reserves per second. And when he's higher than that, you get less spell mastery, but you get negating magic attacks in the area. That's interesting, but I think the fact that he's not a caster, he has bound spells, I think his power recharge stuff isn't as good in a way, because it counts on your other caster also being alive, and he has to stay below half HP. I don't know. I actually think the base one is better than the rune caller, but we'll have to see. Because you're paying more. I think the minus 10% spell mastery when he's above half HP is really off-putting to me. So we'll see how that works out, but I actually think the base one might be better. Anyway, it's a giant that can regenerate when it's already low. Lords and Heroes, saved them for last because they are the most unique. So I went from least type to most type. I think of the heroes, I am completely opposed in my opinions of them. I think the Famir Noble is pretty bad. For a high price point, you get a decent duelist, high armor, but low melee defense. He has armor sundering magic attacks, but he himself does armor piercing. And then you have a buff that only works... you can only use this buff if he is above half HP. If he's not, you can't use it. You can only use his skin hidden plates. He gets extra armor and terror if he's above half HP. And you get Shrouding Mist. Everyone around you gets melee defense and missile resistance if he's above half HP. So you have a melee hero who doesn't want to take damage, but then only has 30 melee defense. Like, yeah, he has armor, but I don't know. If you get him into the front line, he's eventually going to attrition out and lose all of his buffs. But if you just stand on the sidelines doing nothing, then why are you paying this much for a guy? It feels a little weird. It feels a little asynergistic. And Foe Seeker and Deadly Onslaught are pretty whatever. So he has some decent buffs, but I don't know. I don't think he's going to be that good, personally. I'm ready to be wrong. I'm ready to be wrong. And then there's Bjorg Bearstruck. Now, this guy I could see being good. He is very expensive. I'll give you that. But man, he packs a punch. Warcry is a really cool buff. Plus 24 melee attack and melee defense and leadership if a unit is charging, and that includes himself. So whenever he charges in, he gets a bunch of buffs, but also his animations are really good. And like, he kind of does that thing Stegodons do sometimes where they'll just charge something while they're already in melee with it. So if just someone happens to be far enough away from him that he gets a step in, it'll count as charging. So that's pretty intense. Thrill of Battle, you can get up to 24 melee defense permanently the longer he spends in melee. Guardian, more physical resistance if he's near a lord or hero. I guess that's okay. I would probably cut it from him, but you could keep it. But then he has Potion of Toughness. This DLC is in love with Potion of Toughness. So he has self-healing, more armor, more melee defense. And then he has the Barefang Talisman to get Torx the Brass Bull or Grom the Paunch level of damage resistance on a cooldown. This man is meant to just be tanky and be in their backline, and I love it. He is 1900 gold. Again, that is pretty expensive, but he's an insane battle piece. With 53 base melee defense, between Warcry, Thrill of Battle, and the Barefang Talisman, I guess, and the Potion of Toughness, he can just have so much melee defense all over the damn place. He's really hard to take down. And he has self-regeneration, too. So, insanely tanky hero that just runs around and damages stuff. He's really good. But he is expensive. I think he's balanced because you pay a lot and you get a lot. So, really excited about Bjorg. I hope he makes an appearance in multiplayer. And then we have the two lords, both also very, very good. Like I said, I've been ramping up in hype as we've gone along. So the Marauders, kind of whatever on. Like, they're good, fine. Marauder Horsemen, they're good, but I'm not that excited. Monsters are pretty exciting. Heroes, kind of exciting. Lords, this is what's going to bring Norsca into the fold. I think they're going to be an A tier faction. Maybe S, maybe, but I think they're going to be A. Sol is really good. We'll see if they nerf him at all. The Viper's staff is interesting, but kind of sucks in my opinion. 20% damage resistance for 12 seconds every time he casts a spell. It's fine. It's not bad. But Shulkin's Teeth is so much damage. So much damage. I'll have to do the I'm going to write a note for myself. There we go. Legendary Lord ability. You know what? We'll do the bear guy. Bear guy. Got to show off the bear guy. Anyway, I'll show his ability in a second, but it does so much damage. So you can like half health normal caster, lord or hero with one shot from this. So by the time he gets both of them off, whatever that is just dead. He has a War Mammoth mount he can do, but you're probably going to see him mostly on horseback. And he is a hybrid Shadows and Heavens caster, which the Lore of Heavens just got some tweaking. Though I believe the only thing that he has that's affected by it is Wind Blast. So he can bring Wind Blast, which now does a 40% slow on anybody it touches, and Enfeebling Foe. I think that's probably going to be the kit you see him with, is just as this like mobile support lord. Because anybody the Skin Wolves are trying to catch or whatever, if you just slap them with a 50% slow from Wind Blast, that's pretty intense, and then Enfeebling Foe them. That's nice. Smoke and Mirrors, you can use it to give yourself speed while you're slowing your enemies. And then his Backstabbing Sorcery. I don't know if that's worth it or not, but whenever anybody on the map casts a spell, they take a little ticking of damage. But I don't know if it's worth 200 gold. Still testing that. And then he has essentially Seafang. So, if you want Wulfric's Seafang, but don't want Wulfric's dueling stats, and instead have a Caster Lord, you can take Sol, and he's very good. Or, you can take what everybody's been asking for Norsca forever, the generic Caster Lord. Great Shaman Sorcerer, has some pretty ass abilities. Offering the Gods is interesting. You can buff up a unit, but you damage it. That's fine, honestly. But Power Familiar sucks. Warrior Familiar sucks. Power Stone's good. Then he has some decent abilities, decent mount options, decent lores. Not a lot to talk about here, but just having a generic caster can save Norsca so much money and give him so much build diversity that they're going to be pogging out. So, big wins for Norsca as far as the DLC goes. Though a lot of the multi-entity model units are just more Marauders. Alright, let's take a look at this bear guy. What's my speed differential here? Because I want to hit the charging at the same time. But anyway, we have a couple things to show you right now. First, let's get Bear Struck in there. I don't think he has to be charging, actually, so that's nice. He can go and break the charge for me. I do want to get my little twin fangs out. So this is that Scalion's Teeth thing I was talking about. If I hit right, this is going to do a lot of damage. Ah, I hit the Armored Cossars. Lame. All right, so Bear Boy's getting in there. Charges straight through, like a legend. Now I'm gonna have my cavalry follow me up. He's just doing his best. But look at the stats he can give him on the charge. Roar! Oh wait, does the Warcry only work for him? Affected allies in lane range unit is charging. Yeah, it should work on them. I don't know why it didn't work on the Kurgan Horsemen's here. Curious if it works now. Nope. Don't know. Don't know why it's not working out for these poor horsemen who are now suffering greatly. I think I have to be in melee to charge up the Scalion's Teeth again. So in the meantime, as my Kurgan horsemen run away, let's use my new and improved Seafang. Whee! So still pretty good. Still pretty good little Sea Fang. What does it take to charge you up? Recharges if enemy unit debilitated within range. What does debilitated mean? I'm learning on the fly here, gang. Learning on the fly. Anyway, Bjork's still going. He's charging up Thrill of Battle. He's vibing and surviving with the best of them. Nice and low-ish to the ground. So the pistols, a lot of those shots are missing. What the hell is debilitated? All right, I'm gonna try this charge one more time. I'm sad I didn't get to show Salin's teeth doing much damage. All right, Bjork's still doing good. Let's see if these guys can get their charge bonus this time. Yeah, I don't know. Does he have to be out of melee? Enabled if unit is charging. Affects allies in range all. Okay, so they do. Yeah, it is the worst case scenario. He has to be charging at the same time as them. That's pretty ass. So I guess the charging thing is just good for him, pretty much, because it's too hard to coordinate with someone else. He has 56 speed, which is a really awkward amount. But anyway. Let's see if I can switch targets easily. Yeah, he has good mass, so he can push right through him. And then he starts charging over. Uses his little roar thing. 70, 77 for his melee stats. 96 briefly there for a second. There we go, Thrill of Battle. 96 melee defense on Bjorg. Doesn't give a fuck. He's still regenerating too. So yeah, I can see Bjorg being a good little disruptor. Gonna heal cap himself. That melee defense is insanely high, 77. Give me damage resistance! I will continue to slap Cassars! No! No! Yeah, I mean, he only fought armored Cassars and he got shot by everybody, but he heal capped himself in 5 minutes. And just continued to be a nuisance, and even then, he's just gonna run away and regenerate, so he actually might be back. Yep, he's coming back. Love him. Love Bjorg. Bro! Bear! 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 Let's see if I can hit that lady. Nyeh! 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 Continue on, Bjorg. So he's cool. He's good. I hope he'll stick around. Obviously, he would want to be finding large targets to kill, not just fighting armored Cassars forever and getting shot. So, should probably be hanging out with skin wolves or something, fighting cavalry. All right, I'm gonna retry that Fang. I don't know what that debilitated thing is. I'm really curious if it's like shattered or something. I don't know. How do you charge up that Twin Fangs? I wonder if I can shatter this lady and see if it's shattering. All right, anyway. While we figure that out, let's wander forward and get our Twin Fangs. All right, medium range, decent charge up time. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pop! Does a bit of damage, gang. Does a bit of damage. So she's got by our blood. Rocked. What is debilitated? Enemy unit debilitated. Law of heavens! Strike this maiden! Bop! Okay, don't kill her. We do need to see what this debilitated thing is. Okay. So debilitated is routing. Interesting. But yeah, it does pretty insane damage. It half HP'd her on the way in. So even if you don't recharge it, you still can take half HP off of a Caster Lord, which is super nuts. Alright, to show off some more units. We have the Chimeras that are added with Norsca. And the Chimeras seem like they're going to be pretty good. I wouldn't say overpowered, but they will be pretty good. As I back off some of my units here. So they're just a higher stat Manticore with a breath attack, which is going to be very good. Immune to flanking, which is fine. It gives them higher leadership is probably their main use for it. Flank attacks aren't actually that terrible on smaller single entities like this, but not getting rear attack punishments for leadership, and they're already higher leadership values means they're going to be pretty good. But they have a decent little breath attack, especially if you get side shots down infantry or enemy lord's moving. I guess I could have thrown her in sandbox mode, but just curious how much damage it does. Yeah, she can dodge it pretty easy. Oh, it has soft homing. Okay, so if they're not moving too much, not like they can move a little bit and dodge the whole thing. You have fire and magic and poison attacks on both versions of the Chimera, which is huge. So you can reduce enemy healing, also get past physical resistance and poison them. That's actually quite a lot. I don't know, other than that, they're just kind of a slightly higher statted Manticore. They're really not going to do that much damage to infantry. Will do a little bit more damage to cavalry, and then probably meant mostly for sniping out enemy single entities. They are moderately expensive, which is kind of different than the Manticores. Manticores you can kind of just fire and forget, but these guys, you actually need to take care of them a little bit, otherwise you're going to lose a lot of money. I'm trying to get these Zargard to fight me for a second and do some decent damage, but actually the Chimeras are kind of kicking their ass right now. With only 38 melee defense on the base one and 48 on the ROR, kind of surprised I'm taking this little damage, but I suppose they have good attack animations. I've seen them charging. Ooh, yeah, okay, that's why. They are going to be pretty strong with that then. With so many movement and attack animations that take them charging through things, as you're seeing, it's very hard for the infantry to actually lock them down, because look, as they're starting to get us around, Chimera moves a little bit, now all these guys are out of range again, and then it moves a bit, and then all these guys are out of range. So the more something moves around, the tankier it is. But I'm finally starting to take the damage I wanted to take. So if we back off with the Regiment of Renown, the basic one can just get up in the sky, throw down another breath attack, and call it a day. But the Regiment of Renown can land anywhere and then pop his Perfect Predator. And he heals up for 45 seconds, and he also gets Stalk. So that's pretty intense. Does he keep Stalk if he's in the air? Yeah, wow, he gets Stalk in the air. So you could have an invisible flying Manticore guy. And then it has to recharge for 2 minutes, but it recharges when he's out of melee. So I could see this getting used a lot for Norsca. Now, he is very expensive, so it's not just like a super crazy OP unit. I think it's going to be strong. I don't know if it's going to be OP. But he'll probably dive in, take a lot of damage in the first couple engagements, and then back off and heal and just like run around healing for a while, using his breath attacks maybe every so often, and then rejoin the fight later as like a full HP, fully rested Manticore in the late game. Whoa, misclick. I just want to see this breath attack on like a blob. Yeah. Okay, Chimeras are going to be pretty good. The more I'm using this one, the more I'm realizing he's going to be strong as hell. I kind of want to get a good breath attack onto this single entity and see how it does, but she's proving rather cagey. Here, I'm going to stick this Chimera on her and then have the other one breath attack her, because I don't think she'll keep like running around with a Manticore, Chimera's murdering her. Yeah, she's going to stop and fight it. All right. Get above her, get the breath attack in, see how it does. Yeah, that's pretty good damage. Because a lot of it missed due to all the moving around and stuff, but when it hit her, it did a good chunk of damage. So, yeah, breath attack's pretty good versus single entities or multi-entities. Yeah. And then Bjorg Bearstruck's doing so good just fighting Zargard this whole time. I did a different test with him where it was versus armored Kossars, and he kind of got wrecked a little bit because I'm an idiot and did it with someone who has pistols. So I might have to just let Bjorg go apeshit on some melee only units and show you his real worth when he doesn't get shot to death. All right. Let's just send Bjorg in there and see how many people he can fight. I'm gonna run into the woods and see if the Zargard give a shit about me being in the woods. Let's do this! Dun, 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 gonna kill Zargard. See, Zargard with great weapons. Pretty heavy infantry. Heavy, armor piercing, decent stats. Versus one Bjorg. Pop potion of toughness. So if I edit this correctly, you'll have already seen the Bjorg testers running around armored Kossars, but essentially I'm just pointing out that he gets insanely high melee defense and has self-regeneration and is just a tanky boy. But yeah, with everything. So he's good. He'll fight to the death, which Norsca needs. No low leadership for him as he's closing in on his healing cap. He's just been standing in hyper elite infantry for probably about 4 minutes at this point. Which, like, yeah, he's losing, etc., but he is standing in very elite infantry. And then when he routs, he just regenerates and comes back. But he got 750 value standing in infantry like a dumbass. Like, that's a terrible situation to put most single entities in, and he's just vibing. Get her! Get her! Oh, he got distracted. I love him. I think he's really funny and cool and good. I don't know if he's going to be OP. I don't know if Norsca will even take him most of the time, but I fucking love him. I think he looks so cool. I think he's great. He's my favorite. That's Bjorg. 8 minutes into a game where I chucked him into the worst situation possible and he's still alive. Hang on. I'm gonna micro him as best I can and try and actually kill this lady before he routes again. No, -1 leadership. No! No! Ah, he shattered. So let's see his final value. I'm just curious. Again, I put him in a terrible situation and he did that well. 1500 value just standing in Zargard. And the Ice Witch is butt naked on a horse. She doesn't have that much value. I think she's only 800 gold. So it's not like you can say, well, you got like 3 hits on the Ice Witch. That's where most of the value came from. Nah, she was pretty cheap. But yeah, now imagine you use him in an actually good situation with like skin wolves and taking cavalry fights and running him around the map instead of just standing in armor-piercing infantry. He's gonna be, I think he's gonna be okay. I think he's gonna be all right. And I love it because he's so fucking cool. Alrighty, we're in a bit of a time crunch. This should cap off the Norsca video. I believe I made my thoughts about their new roster clear, but I think they, out of the 3 factions, I think they got the largest bump to power. And we'll see. I have heard through the grapevine that CA might nerf this a little bit before release. And to any campaign players who say multiplayer players ruin all the fun, relax. The nerfs on this thing are mostly either to its cost point or to some cooldowns, but you can still do most of what I'm about to show here with it. We have the Dreadmaw. It is a Vanguard deployed underground monster that cannot take damage while it's underground. Like, you can't target it with archers or cannons or anything. So my concern is going to be, if your opponent has any defensive formation, you can just bypass those and then sit underground and make it impossible for anyone to like shoot you on the way in. Like, a Manticore flies over your front line, but there are other flying units to stop it in place. Maybe you can shoot it on the way in, all that stuff. The Dreadmaw has none of those problems, as it can just go wherever it wants. And when it is burrowed, it can surface, right? So then it pops up, roars, does some stuff, and now when it's up, it has a ranged attack, like a skull cannon, essentially. And it can go back underground in such a short amount of time that the Celestial General couldn't find it. Then it can pop up somewhere else, and then it can go underground again. So that whole interaction just caused a bunch of disruption. And he was untargetable for most of it. So now he's back underground. He can just vibe, survive, chill. Anyway, has pretty bad melee defense, has okay armor, and has 10,000 HP. But one of the big strong things about him is the Dreadmaw is only 1,000 gold. It is very, very, very cheap. Because the Manticore is only 200 gold cheaper. And this thing's a lot better. So then it causes a lot of displacement. The cannon's just shooting at my lord somewhere off in the distance. But the Dreadmaw is not a very good duelist. It's okay. You know, 62 melee attack with poison, 400 weapon strength, a lot of armor piercing there. It's okay, but it takes a lot of damage when it's dueling. But it's mostly about disrupting range, and it's mostly about being a nuisance. And you can see now its two abilities. It has Burrow, which it just did and becomes back underground, or it has Deep Tunneling, where while you are surfaced, you can teleport to somewhere within the range. The range is 15 meters? No, the range is 130. Within 130 meters, you can pop back up and do a little explosion. I did that on the cannons at the start. It didn't do that much damage because cannons, artillery in general is weird. The crew took the damage, but doesn't show on the bar because they're on their mounts. But when I do it to the Celestial Dragon crossbows, you'll see more of its damage. Or what you can do, which I forget if I do in this demonstration, is you can also just do it on yourself. So while you're standing in infantry, you can also just cause an explosion around yourself to knock everyone away and do some extra damage. But he's causing disruption on the Grand Cannons, being a nuisance. The Celestial General's having a hard-ish time keeping up with him, but he does occasionally find me. And then I think I do the explosion. Yeah, it's coming up. Oh, I did the explosion to get away from the Celestial General, but I wanted to start shooting at these guys, I think. No, I just went back underground. Yep. There we go. Now I'm about to do some of the shots. So the shots don't do that much damage. They do a little bit if you're clumped up, but obviously I can get shot while I'm sitting here. This is definitely something you do when the unit is getting lower on HP and you just want to get more use out of it, even though it's pretty much done with its melee capacity. And if you've already taken out the enemy ranged, you can do that. But the extra functionality means this thing's gonna be really good. One thing it is weak, it has Survival Instinct, which is a special passive. Essentially, if it ever routs, it shatters instantly. It cannot rally again. So it's pretty intense. I think now I pop on the Celestial Dragons and do the combo on them. No, I'm still trying to show off the explosion. But I am popping up right in front of them, so it's not super smart as far as efficiency goes. But again, I'm just trying to show off the units thing, so I was just trying to get some artillery shots in. So it does a little bit. Not that strong. And then I'm gonna route in a second. Pretty much fighting to the end though, so that whole like, if it shatters, it dies thing. Alright, I don't know why I did that. That's funny. Hang on, I'll just boot up and control it this time. Alright, loading in. We'll just control the Dreadmaw this time. It's difficult making content because sometimes plans go awry. Also, time constraints are a thing. I have a very limited amount of time to record these and get them out to you fine people. So let's go disrupt some Kossars, some archers. Dun, 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 dun. Fast forward briefly. All right, I'm gonna pop up here. I know these aren't the Kossars you're looking for. I want the Kossars to stop moving so I can hit them. Yum. Yum, 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 yum. All right, we have Kossars over here that are shooting at me. I'm just gonna teleport to them real quick. See, you can see the damage on the Unburrow ability. So I took like 1/5 of their HP while teleporting to them. Get some extra damage out, and if Boris ever turns around, I could just tunnel, but yeah, so I could pop up, do that damage, and then tunnel before that volley from the Kossars even get to me. And in my shenanigans, I took off like 1/4 HP and 1/5 of HP from some of the Kossars. I didn't take that much. So it is mostly a little disruption piece, with the AIR being stupid, and I don't have time to wrangle them because I have about 2 minutes before I need to be somewhere. So I need to go soon. Deep tunneling, I think the cooldown only starts cooling down when you're actually moving. But here's the thing I want to show you. If you have infantry just blobbed up on you, you can just use deep tunneling on yourself to just get a burst of damage out. Like say you're already in the infantry you want to be in or whatever, you can just do that. And then you can tunnel if you want to get away from here. You're like, all right, I've dispersed you, now fuck off, and then you leave. So I think the Dreadmaw is going to be really, really strong. Remember, it's only 1,000 gold. So yeah, I've already gotten 500 value. I've made this thing pay for half of itself with these shenanigans. Like, it's really good. It's really, really good. I think it's going to need a cost increase, or some of these cooldowns are going to have to go up, so it's not as impossible for things to catch. So, yeah. All right, there was the Norsca showcase. Hopefully you learned some stuff. Goodbye. Roar. Subscribe. Yes, yes.